I'm here in Lviv, Ukraine, on the week that marks the 1-month anniversary of the start of this war. Where do you begin? Do you begin with the 7 Baptist seminaries in Ukraine that have been utterly upended, and the Baptist seminary which has been destroyed by an aerial bombardment? Do you begin with Pastor Michael in Mariupol, a city that has experienced something like a medieval siege as Russian forces have surrounded it, except with modern-day weapons, utterly desolating this beautiful metropolis? In Pastor Michael's Baptist Church, there were 250 refugees seeking shelter in the sanctuary. Seeing this dramatic need, Pastor Michael took his car out into the city of Mariupol, scouring the community for groceries to feed, when he was kidnapped, arrested by the Russians, and sent against his will into a territory into the east that is occupied. Right now in Ukraine, there are churches that are being occupied by these unjust invaders. There are tanks on the grounds of churches and soldiers in the homes of pastors. Right now, there are 196 Baptist churches which are in the occupied territories. Over the last 2 weeks, I've had the privilege of traveling here in Ukraine and in Romania, Moldova, and in Poland. And in the midst of the chaos of this war, Baptists have been on the front line of service. In Poland, at one of the Baptist refugee centers, they've turned that center into a transportation hub, helping lorries go in and out, sending goods of help and hope across the country. At that particular crossing, we've heard from refugees who've said that the officials are telling them, if you have nowhere else to go, if you don't have any friends or family in Poland, go to the Baptist church because they will help you. In Romania, on the very first day of the war, the very first recognized humanitarian helper who went up to the border holding a sign saying assistance is available was a Baptist pastor. In Moldova, in the first 10 days of the war, 70% of all refugees into Moldova were first welcomed by a Baptist church. And in Ukraine, over 600 Baptist churches have offered humanitarian support. They've helped evacuate people even as their vehicles have been shot at. They've helped give prayer and spiritual counseling. They've helped feed people, provide basic medical care, and give beds for those who are weary. Here in Ukraine and across this region, the BWA Baptist family is providing 51,000 beds every night for refugees and those who've been displaced by the war. Over the last 30 days, the BWA Baptist family has helped serve over 650,000 people. And sometime in the next 10 days or so, we will cross the 1 million person mark. And yet, war rages on. I've heard the aerial sirens in this city, and I've been instructed on how to find the closest bomb shelter. There is so much we can do, but I want to invite every church and every individual to take 2 steps. Number 1, would you pray? Do not lose heart. Do not lose hope. Hold on to your endurance because the path to peace is still possible. So I want to invite you, go to the website, baptistworld.org/share-a-prayer, where you can write a prayer that will be sent to someone in Ukraine so that they can know that the world is standing with them in prayer. And will you give? There's not a suffering church and a non-suffering church. There is one church. And we have an opportunity to live as one church with gospel generosity and the compassionate care of Jesus Christ as we answer the biblical call to enter into the sufferings of humanity. The Baptists are serving on the front line, and this is our opportunity to stand together with them as one church. And I want to call upon every national leader and United Nations leader around the world to do everything that you can to pursue just peace here in Ukraine and across the region. We need to stand with those who are fighting for democracy and human rights, to protect religious minorities, and to use every resource available to pursue just peace. Over 40 years ago, the Baptist World Alliance passed a resolution which read in part, "We acknowledge that peace is a gift from God. Peace begins in the hearts of people of goodwill. Today is the day. As we pursue peace, will we live as people of goodwill?